Welcome to Basscast Radio, bringing you the best in local and national news in bass fishing, as well as interviews with some of the best anglers from all over the U.S., with your host Brian Carter and Hank the Bass Geek. Sponsored by Wild Wear America, Z-Bait Company, Missile Baits, Battleborn Batteries, Conrad Brothers Marine, Taylorman's Custom Lures, Vertical Lures, and Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range.
Guys, we are back. It's another great episode of Basscast Radio. Got with me tonight again, as always, my co-host, my brother, Bass Geek. What is happening, brother?
Hey man, been working a little bit, been trying to do a little bit of fishing, but the past 3 days and tomorrow, well, today for you guys listening, I will be in Lebanon, Virginia, doing some work with some youth, talking about social media, YouTube, that sort of stuff. Pretty fun event so far. Enjoyed really reaching out and getting the youth's minds, fired up, working.
Oh yeah, so, awesome. So what's the turnout been like for this thing, man? It's a camp? Is that what it is?
It's no, it's not really a camp. I mean, It's more of just like a little, almost kind of like an expo in a sense. So, you just got these little booths and the kids come in, teenagers primarily. And, they just come in and, fire off questions, ask you things. I try to, the ones that want to be on, a lot of them are shy. So, the ones that want to be on the channel, I let them say hi.
That's cool.
A lot of them are talking about TikTok. And, I told you the last time I just started a TikTok channel myself. And, so that's.
How old are these kids?
Teenagers. They're, I'll say 16 to 19.
All right. Send them to Gary Vaynerchuk on that TikTok. All right. He knows it better than all of us together. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Gary V is the man when it comes to social media. I hate to say it. I mean, he is like he's helped me so much. I'll be honest, watching all his videos but he's the man.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's awesome, dude. That's really cool.
But, things are going good, just kind of pump out a video every Wednesday, which, so one just came out yesterday on the Magnum chatterbaits. We're talking about 2-ounce baits, big boys.
There you go. Oh yes. They love throwing here it's on Smith Mountain Lake. The boys love throwing them big old swim baits on Smith Mountain Lake. I mean, you talking about like that freaking big. I mean, 12 inches. I mean, it's like huge.
So it's the chatterbait is just kind of a little bit of a different play on some deep fishing. Those big 2-ounce chatterbaits, you put a little pintail shad on them, little straight tail, kind of the same way you would rig up a big scrounger head. That sort of deal. So you don't really, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is you really don't want to put a paddle tail swim bait, because your blade goes side to side, your paddle tail swim bait goes side to side, and what ends up happening is they cancel that wiggle out on each other.
There you go, boys and girls. It's a great tip from Bass Geek, and you guys can get more great tips like that by heading on over, checking out his YouTube page. And while you're there, as always, make sure you hit the subscribe and follow button. Hit the bell. That way you can get notifications. So And if you don't want to hit the bell, just check out the basscast.com Facebook page. And we try to share all of Bass Geek's videos so you guys don't miss them. And you the man, brother.
Thanks, sir.
All right, guys. If you missed last Thursday, me and John did another backstage fishing podcast. The Rattle Shot. We had the creator of the Rattle Shot on, Mr. Dennis Stump. And you guys have until Friday night. Yeah, Friday night to go enter a contest that we're doing. And all you have to do is go to Backstage Fishing on Facebook and just do what it tells you to do. Listen to the podcast, please. Check out the video as well. It is all up now on outdoorobsessionsradio.com. And make sure you guys go hit the follow button. And here you guys go. Let me turn it around. Check the rattle out net. There you guys go. And the winner is getting a sticker. And 1, 2, 3, 4, all the sizes that he makes. I want to say it's all, yeah, you get all 4 sizes. So that's what, 5, 10, 15, 20, almost $25 right there.
Nice.
And if I have to ship it, it's a whole lot more than that. So head on over to Backstage Fishing right now and hit the follow button while you're there, and make sure you listen to the podcast. I had the wonderful opportunity last weekend. Me and Danielle got out and we went up to the James River and went up towards Big Island and did a little fishing up there. So that was really cool. And we caught some fish. It was hot, but it was warm, hot, warm, whatever you say. The water was great. Yeah. So I was like, man, I think at one time we got out, it got shallow. As the water up that way is about 4 foot deep, maybe about 5 foot deep in most spots. But we got to a location that it was like maybe about 12 inches, bunch of rocks. We could have went further, could have paddled all the way up to the dam, but we decided just to park it right there for a little while. We were in the current, and the current, I think it was just, we need rain, brother. Yeah,
it's been hot. We had a little bit of rain here 3-4 days ago, but other than that, it's been like maybe once every 3 weeks you get a solid rain.
Yeah, we got some Sunday and Monday, so we're pretty, thank goodness for that. But I heard upstream didn't get a lot, and it all got here. So then it all just went to Richmond.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Got a couple things to talk to you guys about before we bring our guest on tonight. And by the way, we are talking to Mr. Travis Lugar. He's our special guest tonight. All of you guys locally right here in Central Virginia know who he is. If you don't, wow, you just like ignoring him, because he is one awesome cat and he is a fish catching machine. And if you guys don't already know, he is the son of Mr. Jeff Lugar, who has been to the Bassmaster Classic quite a few times. And to be honest, he's probably had he's probably had a chance. He has had a chance, to be honest. We've spoken about it, to be a Bassmaster Elite angler, and just things just weren't right. So, I mean, it's talking about that really quick here, it was kind of crazy watching the final weigh-in of the Bassmaster Elite series this year. And, a lot of the anglers were saying goodbye, because a lot of these, I ain't gonna say all, I say you get like 75%, 25% are one-timers that are blessed to have that one opportunity to say, I fished a Bassmaster Elite Series event, and I fished all 10 of them. So it was kind of rough, because, you get used to watching all these guys out there, and, some of them are big, not all of them are that big of a name, but, some of the names you get used to hearing and used to them talking about and walking about said, we've enjoyed it. Thank you. We're moving on, and we'll be somewhere in Bass. So it was kind of hardening. There you go. However you want to say it. But yeah. So while we're talking about that really, really quick, before I make a couple announcements here, next week, we got Mr. Seth Fighter. And Bass Geek didn't even know that. So it's breaking news to you too, buddy. That.
Breaking news. I'm excited.
So we'll have the Fighter man on. I worked it all out the other night with him. He's got Mark Zona early in the morning. and he has us at night. The man's going to be on tour for quite a while. So something about it when you win AOY, just it's crazy. I don't know what happens.
Listen, it's nice to win a tournament, but AOI is,
yes,
it's what it's all about, in my opinion.
It is.
Look, the classic is the classic, and of course everybody wants to win it because of everything that goes with it. But to me, and I think anybody that's fished tournaments of any sort, the AOI is the best angler of the year, hands down. That's the guy that is the most consistent, does it day in, day out, tournament in, tournament out. That's the prize that I think most anglers will tell you they want above and beyond any of the others.
Very true. Very, very true. So next Wednesday, we will have the Seth fighter on. Very excited about that. He's been on a couple times on with us. I don't think we haven't had him on since we started doing the live, but not live, but the video version. But yeah, so we're really, really excited about having him back on. So, but before we talked with Mr. Travis Lugar, let's talk about this real quick. Got a couple things here. First of all, if you are not following us on Rumble, there it is. Check out rumble.com. Our podcast, if you guys go look to Outdoor Session Radio, that's where you can click the button and watch the video version. Also, thankful for some awesome sponsors who have made 2021 an awesome season. Angler's Choice, Marine.com, Dick's Sporting Goods, Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range right here in Central Virginia, Battleborn Batteries, Wild Wear America, Conrad Brothers Marine, Missile Baits, and Lisa L. Lindsay, Associate Broker. If you guys looking to buy a house or sell a house down in South Boston, Virginia, you guys can reach her at 434-572-2645. And we haven't done this in a while. Me and Bass Geek were talking about it real quick before we went on here. We haven't done this in a while, but we want to thank all of you guys for listening, all of you guys for watching, everyone that's went to the brand new website. Very, very thankful for that. We're slowly building that. We're trying to get more and more content on there. And I'll be honest with you guys, the basscast.com is getting a makeover this year. It's time. We've been with that theme for about 3 years, so it's time to work on that. And that's going to happen during the off season, and that starts for me about November. But if you guys want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to it in a lot of different locations. First, on Apple, we're on Castbox, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Deezer, Spotify, and if you'd like to download the Spreaker app, that's where we are as well, with a lot of other great podcasts that are being hosted there. And our YouTube version, you can still go to YouTube and watch it there under the Basscast, or like I said, head on over to rumble.com. Check it out, create your account, and follow us there. You'll enjoy Rumble, just an FYI. So, guys, tonight, without any further ado, we're going to welcome here Mr. Travis Lugar.
Hold on, something just happened.
All right, guys. All right, guys, we are back with Mr. Travis Lugar. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Brian?
Thank you for being on the show. Welcome. It's your very first time. I'm sorry it took so long to get you on, but you're having an awesome 2021 season, man. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's definitely been a blessing in disguise.
Now, I got to get you on more times because we got to get caught up with Pop. So he's been on many, many, many times. So a great ambassador right here for Central Virginia, and now living in Texas. So we need to get him back on, talk to him, see how he's doing down in Texas. I forget about this state.
Yeah, I do too. Even though he lives there, I still don't remember he's down there.
It's crazy. All right, brother, for those who don't know who you are, man, tell everybody who you are. Who is Travis Lugar?
Well, I'm Travis Lugar, 25, and all I do is fish, really. It's about the best way to put it.
All right. So, a lot of, okay, so let's go into this then. Your dad fishes. We all know that. And I know you fished with your dad for years off and on, but has it always been something you want to do? Or was it, a lot of kids don't go into it where, you'll have some that want to do it, some that don't want to do it. When did you know you said, yes, this is what I really, really want to do?
I wish I had some pictures for you, Brian, but there's pictures of me when I was not even 1 year old, jumping in my dad's boat, looking in the live wells when he was going to weigh-ins while they were riding around. Yeah. So I'm assuming I've been wanting to do it since I was 1 year old.
Yeah.
What do you think's been your biggest accomplishment so far in your short-lived history right here?
Leading day one of the national championship on Pickwick in 2017 or 18, that was probably a really big accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to say that's probably my overall accomplishment. If this year continues going the way it's going, I probably could change that by the end of the year.
Heck yeah.
Points, but as of right now, I'd have to say probably leading day one of that national championship.
What's been your biggest bass so far?
In my life?
Yeah.
13 pounds, 1 ounce.
Where'd it come from?
A little private pond in Massanutten Resort.
Oh, dang. Private ponds. Good
now,
gosh.
Biggest public body of water fish.
Asterisks.
Biggest public body of water fish.
Yeah, let's hear that one.
There you go.
That one was 10 pounds, 11 ounces.
Ooh, it's still tough.
And that one come on a buzz bait next to a laydown. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Ooh, a buzz bait next to a laydown. Now that's the way to catch a double digit. A dub.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So you guys don't know, man. This dude fishes all over the place. The last time I saw you, you drove from one tournament to another tournament overnight to fish that one. I think it was a Bass Nation, Virginia Bass Nation, whatever we call it now, Federation Nation. This guy is all over the place, but you guys mainly see him up on Lake Anna, man.
Yeah, I haven't been on Anna there for a few months now. It's been more focusing on the James and Potomac and places like that.
What's it been like, learning and, getting used to the tidal water and getting used to them tide changes and all the other crazy stuff?
Be honest with you, I'm big with the tidal waters. I love the way they fish. I love running the tide and, moving with the fish and figuring out what tides they want to bite on with, and what lures to throw on certain tides.
Right.
So the tidal waters for me really, really suit the way I like to fish.
That's awesome. Yeah, a runner and gunner right there, man.
Oh, yeah. I'll burn the BFL last weekend. I probably burned 30 gallons of gas.
Good gosh.
Good Lord.
Good gosh. What do you think is your favorite technique, man? What's if you had your, confidence bait that you love that's on your boat every single time you go out?
My confidence bait, it doesn't matter if it's a lake or river or anything, it's definitely a frog.
Ooh, not too many people say that.
Yeah.
No, I've learned, like at Smith Mountain, I've got certain times a year I can throw a frog and catch them really well. I probably shouldn't be saying this because boys are going to start trying that. But Lake Anna this time of year, I'm the crazy guy fishing shallow throwing a frog. When I get to these tidal rivers, I'd rather throw a frog if I can. So it's just one of those baits I feel confident in my hand. If I'm going to catch them, it's going to be a good bag with that in my hand.
What's your frog setup, man? A lot of, like I said, this is something cool teaching some people here because a lot of people don't. You never hear that around here too much.
Everybody loves to throw a frog, but not everybody calls that their go-to.
Right.
So are you throwing that popping frog the most? Are you walking a frog? What's your go-to style?
It all depends on. I let the fish tell me because some days when I'm practicing, I'll have 3 different frogs on deck. I'll have a popping, a walking, and like a horny-toed swimming frog.
Yeah.
So it just depends. A lot of times with dirtier water, I will throw more of a swimming frog or a popping frog. But it just, I let the fish tell me for the day because it will change day by day no matter where you go.
It's very true.
But my frog setup, I throw a 7'3" TFO 736 rod and 50-pound braid with a Lose 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel.
TFO and Lose, two good companies.
There you go. Yeah. You guys heard it right here. All right, guys. So let's go into this thing, man. Dude, You got a 26-point lead going into the final event of the Phoenix Bass Fishing League, which I got used to saying all that. BFL, Major League Fishing, Shenandoah Division. Congratulations on us so far, man.
Thank you.
And you're going back for the you made the state team, the Bass Nation of Virginia state team, as a co-angler. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You know, last weekend, guys, they were up on the James River. So that was pretty different seeing a federation come up there. What was your thoughts on that, man?
I was excited because I consider the James to be more or less my home body of water than Lake Anna. Okay. I fished there a lot. So I was really, really excited. I was supposed to be a boater in the event, but right now my boat is down and in the shop. So I fished with a buddy and we had a blast. We just never got on those big fish, but it was definitely, you could tell it was a different ballpark with not, you know, the numbers of boats we were expecting and everything like that to be on the James River this time of year.
It was a great turnout. I know I heard, you know, some people weren't too excited about the turnout, but I grabbed the photo. Thank you, Jesus. I spent the day at the house, but 60 boats. I thought that was really freaking good. I mean, like I said, in my 10 years of doing the bass, 10 plus years doing the basscast.com, I think that's like the first time or like the second or third time they've gone north.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of, it hasn't been a whole lot of visits that way. So.
No, and you're right. 60 boats for July. That's pretty good. Yeah. A lot of guys don't like the heat.
Don't like the heat. A lot of guys don't like fishing the rivers. So, I thought it was a great turnout, and, you know, congratulations to the father-son team that did win. And them two right there, especially the son, you know, he's a hammer.
Yes, he is.
He's a hammer. And, you know, he made the All-American Bass Federation All-American this year for high school anglers. So that was freaking pretty cool. We got to interview him a while back. So congratulations to the whole family. But let's talk about the Shenandoah division, man. You've had 3 top 10 finishes, brother.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's start off with, we'll go back and start off with the Kerr Lake event, man. You had, you finished 5th place with 13-12.
Yeah, that event was very interesting. I actually had 0 practice going into that event.
Okay.
And I hadn't been down there since the fall of the year before. And I got down there Friday about 3:00 in the afternoon. I practiced for an hour to maybe an hour and a half. That's all I got. So I considered mainly no practice. But in that little bit of time, I figured out one little key to the whole deal that I ended up running with. And I was throwing a spinnerbait in bushes. You know, It's Bugs Island. Everybody does that.
Oh, yeah.
But the key for me was I was not getting bites if I was slow rolling it. I had to literally keep it just under the surface of the water. You'd watch the fish come eat it. And so come tournament time, I threw that spinnerbait. I stayed in nutbush the whole time. And actually, my very first cast of the morning, you know how everyone makes that little BS cast off to the right or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I made that cast off to the right about halfway back to the boat. I caught a 4-pounder.
Holy cow.
I was like, well, I guess this is how it's going to start. So my co-angler actually looked at me at the time and was like, I hear that's bad luck. I said, man, that's one less cast I have to make for a 4-pounder.
I know. Where was I? I was down somewhere it's like a couple years ago, and I threw up underneath the bridge, and I was like, I hung one. My buddy said, you don't want to get him in. No, he needs to jump off. That's bad luck. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get this thing in here. I mean, it did get off, thank goodness. But yeah, I was like, crap. So that's awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was definitely funny. But I ended up running that deal with rolling that spinnerbait just under the surface, and about noon, it ended up not working. And I was like, what do I need to do? And I ended up sticking with the spinnerbait. Then I started slow rolling it. I had one about 4 or 5 pounds miss it at the boat. So I was like, maybe if I slow it down, that fish would have got it.
Right.
So I started slowing it down, and next thing you know, I'm catching one fish here, one fish there, one fish here. It was definitely just a good adjustment throughout the day.
That sun get up a little bit more, maybe there in that 12 o'clock time.
Yep.
Get that bait down just a little bit deeper.
And this is what's going to throw everybody in a loop. people think throw a spinnerbait on windy banks. I could not get bit on a windy bank to save my life.
Good gosh.
That's funny.
Everything I was catching was in slick, calm water and just slow rolling that thing in the afternoon around them bushes.
So what's your spinnerbait set up?
I throw a Pepper Custom spinnerbait, a 1/2 ounce with double willow blades most of the time. And my rod is a TFO 704 rod. It's a spinnerbait special TFO makes. And I throw a loose reel on it, 6-3 to 1. I like a slower gear ratio with that because I'm really antsy and can't sit still. So
we know that.
Down.
I tell everybody all the time. I hear these guys talking about all the time. They're like, oh, I can slow down. See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm an old school crankbait guy, and I've always been like, this is my natural, motion. Yeah. So for me to fish something slow like a swim bait, I have to have like a 6-3 to 1 where I can force myself to slow down a little bit, or that spinnerbait too. So what's your take on spinnerbait blade color?
If I'm fishing really, really clear water, like even like at Smith Mountain, for example, if it's slick, I'll go with a silver double willow most of the time. If it's windy, I like to have that little gold in there, and this is a personal preference. So I'll throw a gold with a silver, willow blades. It really just depends on color, body of water, time of year, all that stuff.
Yeah, true.
Awesome. All right, so we left there and we headed up to Smith Mountain Lake, my home lake. And you finished up in 9th. Yeah, no, we don't want to talk about it. And you finished in 9th place. 12, 15, 5 fish. Talk about it, man.
That was that's a tournament I want to forget about, to be honest with you. That event, I was on some smallmouth on beds, and I really thought I could go catch 14, 15 pounds sight fishing these smallmouth first thing in the morning because how aggressive they were being.
Right.
And actually the guy that won the tournament was on those same smallmouth when I pulled in there. And he was nice as can be. He actually gave me the fish. He left. He said, I got another deal working here, man. You can have them. They're still here. I didn't catch them. Well, I ended up not catching them fish. I tried. They just would, every time you pitched to them, they were gone. And so I ended up leaving there, ran way up the river. That didn't work out either. So about 1 o'clock, I switched everything and just started focusing on skipping docks. And I was skipping a Ned's rig under docks. And about the last hour of the tournament, I only had 4 fish. And my co-angler looked at me and said, man, you were catching more fish when you were fishing slow. How about you slowed the boat down a little bit? And I was like, maybe I am going a little too fast. So I started slowing down. The next thing you know, it was like every other dock I was catching a decent fish.
Right.
That's a good catch by your co. That's a good co. He's paying attention.
He was, and I'm not gonna lie, I was getting spun out. And if it wasn't for him saying that, I probably I might not have caught one of those better fish at the end of the day that I caught to give me that 12, 13 pounds.
All right, moving on. You finished 24th on a Potomac. If you really want to talk about that, that's your worst finish so far.
I will actually talk about that event because that's the event my motor went.
Okay. Oh man!
Oh.
So I ran to my first spot. I got there. I had 1 fish. My co-angler actually had 4, and it was just a difference in the chatterbaits we were throwing. We were throwing same exact color. He was throwing a jackhammer. I wasn't.
Oh.
And when the sun got up, I was like, man, the sun's going to get right for my big fish spot. Let me go. So I took off and I went running to my big fish spot. About 2 miles out from where I was at, all of a sudden my motor stopped. And I was like, it kept running, but I blew my lower unit. And I ended up turning around, trolling motor right back to where I started at. It took me about 20 minutes to get back to where I was going. I sat there all day and managed to catch. I don't even remember the weight I had, but I started catching them really good on a lizard, just dragging it through the grass.
Oh, wow.
And I was very, very happy with the weight I had. I really wish I could have got to those other fish and maybe got one of them big ones to bite up there, but I did lose a fish that tournament that probably cost me 16, 17 pounds. It was a pretty big one at the boat.
You finished that event with 13-13.
Okay. Yeah. I lost one. It was right at the boat pushing about 4.5. So it would have gave me around that 16-pound mark.
Holy cow. All right, let's talk about that lizard, man. You don't hear, that's something, a lot of people, I throw it on lizard. I mean, I got lizards in my box. I mean, I've got a whole river set up, and that's what I have. I fish out of a kayak, guys. So I can't carry everything like Mr. Travis Lugar does. But I've got I've got some small spinner baits. I got lizards. I got wacky. I got a bunch of different things that I enjoy to fish on the river. So talk about the lizard.
I was throwing a June bug lizard, typical what you hear on the rivers, and it wasn't because I was trying to be anything secretive. I had caught one on a drop shot earlier in the day. And I told my co-angler, I said, look, I'm not going to go down with this sissy stick in my hand on the I'm going to pick this meat stick up and start
old egg
casting.
beater. Yeah.
And so I picked it up, and it was the key to it was because there was a bunch of boats around me on this grass bed, and me and one other guy were the only two really catching them. And the key for me was I would throw that lizard out there and just with a lightweight try to trickle it on top of the grass, and when it get buried in a bigger clump, you just pop it up. Don't peg the weight, nothing like that, because when the lizard fell, it was just a natural fall then.
Okay.
And the line would jump as soon as you come over one of them bigger clumps, and you knew right away what that was.
Now, what was your technique?
Just literally dragging until I felt a big clump, and when I did, I just popped the rod.
What was your setup, I guess you could say? There you go. How about that? Were you Carolina rigging it, or were you?
No, just Texas rig.
Texas rigging. Okay.
Texas rig. Just Texas rigging with 20-pound fluorocarbon and a big rod in my hand, a TFO jig rod, the same rod I throw with my frog.
Now, size of lizards, they make, was it the 4-inch or 5-inch or something like that? Then they make a bigger lizard. Now, you like throwing the bigger lizard, or were you having to downsize to catch some of these fish?
I was throwing the smaller one.
Okay.
A lot of these fish, I believe, were on beds, so I wanted the smaller lizard. So when they did suck it up, they had it all.
Right.
Because a lot of the bites you would get, they'd pick it up, you'd be like, oh, hey, they're swimming, and then you go to swing and they weren't there. But you could cast there 10 times in a row and get bit the same way. So I feel like a lot of them fish were on beds at the time. So that lizard for me was really the key to getting them fish to bite.
All right, let's move on from there, man. James River, July 24th. Again, sixth place, another top 10 finish. You finished the day off with 17:07, 5 fish.
Yes, sir. That was I'll never forget that day.
That's pretty daggone awesome, man.
It was I had been on some really big fish in some areas down there. And going into that Bass Nation event the weekend before, and fish moved. And I had no idea where they went to. I had a random gut feeling going into that tournament. When I told my co-angler we were running down the river, I said, look, I got a spot down here. I'm going to hit it if the water looks right. So once I got 30 minutes down the river, I looked, I was like, hey, the water looks right. And I rolled up them cypress trees throwing a chatterbait. And about the very last cypress tree on the stretch, I caught my first 4-pounder. I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
I was like, all right. So I had 4 fish at the time. 3 of them were 13 inchers, nothing special, but I had that 4-pounder. And in my head, I was like, okay, it took me 40 minutes to fish up this stretch. The tide had been dropping the whole time. Give it another 30, it might be right. So I went to another area, just trying to fill my limit out, and ended up catching another 4-pounder in there and did not expect that fish to bite. And so then after I caught that 4, I looked at my co-angler, said, let's go. And we went right back to that stretch. And I bet you for an hour, every single cypress tree, I was catching 2 fish off of it at a time.
Oh, wow.
It was unreal.
What was your setup for this?
I was throwing just an original chatterbait, not the jackhammer, nothing like that.
The $5 version.
Yeah, the $5 version. We go cheap around here. But I was throwing that. It actually has a handmade skirt one of my buddies tied for me. Like I pick out the skirt strands and he'll tie it up on the chatterbait for me. And I was throwing a TFO Glass Series rod, one of their new Glass Series, and it's the 7'4" one. When them fish bite that thing, you don't even have to set the hook with that rod. You just start reeling. So
that's awesome.
I think that I truly believe the way some of them fish were biting, if it wasn't for that glass rod, I wouldn't have caught some of those fish.
Wow.
Yeah, like basket. Now, did you have a trailer on this, or was you just throwing it?
Yeah, I was throwing a Zoom speed crawl, just a little speed crawl on the back of it. Black grape speed crawl, because the chatterbait I was throwing was like a black blue color. Had some purple in the skirt, and just throwing the black grape speed crawl. I don't think trailer really mattered, the color of it, but it just, I throw that speed crawl a lot so it doesn't roll that chatterbait over like a swim bait would do around them cypress knees.
Now, when you were throwing around these cypress trees, was the water high? Was the tide in? Or what was you looking for besides the trees?
I was looking for the last hour of that outgoing on those particular trees.
Okay.
Because there's a couple feeder creeks around that area, and I felt with that last hour, those fish were pulling out to me the whole time. You know, coming out to those trees, coming out of that shallow water. The bait was coming out there. You could see the bait, you know, as the day went on, the bait started jumping around the boat, doing stuff like that. So I felt them fish were constantly coming to me.
Yeah, that was my next question about the bait fish. Was there a lot of bait fish in that area that you were seeing?
Oh, you could walk across them how thick the bait was in that area.
Wow.
Tasty, tasty, tasty. That's what I'm talking about.
It was, I mean, you kick the trolling motor and you'd have 4 or 5 inch shads jumping over your trolling motor to get away from you.
That's awesome.
So tell me a little bit about that rod, man. You know, I'm old school, like I like everything to be, you know, broomsticks. You know, I like to feel every little thing, you know, if I can bend it this much, it's too soft. You know. So, you know, I'm 100 years old. That's just who we are, you know. So tell us a little bit, because I know there's a lot of guys that you know, not around grass, of course, that are going a little more to that glass or that composite glass rods for the chatterbaits now. Tell us why guys are going to that. Because I've got one. Every time I throw it, I'm like, oh, I can't feel my chatterbait. I don't like this.
Well, the rod I'm throwing, you know, I actually can feel every movement that blade does with that rod. And it's one of those composite glasses, more, you know, better way to put it. This is my first year actually throwing this rod. I haven't gone to glass until this spring. I was playing with it on the private side of Lake Anna, where you can catch them on topwater all year round. You know, it's a great practice ground. So I was playing with it to see how I felt about that glass rod. It just seemed like when the fish hit the chatterbait with that rod, they were able to get it down further because of that little bit softer tip, you know, that more bend into it.
Gotcha.
So I've thrown chatterbaits before on like skeet reese rods, I guess you could say, you know, and those are just too noodly. They're too much noodle. You won't throw them, in my opinion. Since it's that composite, it's got the backbone higher up on the rod. I feel like it truly allows them fish to suck it in, and then it has the backbone to drive the hook through them.
Gotcha.
And I like it. Now, even around grass, you were saying, I actually really like it around grass, believe it or not, like making bomb cast on the Potomac for it.
Because around grass, I always think about, you know, having that little stiffer rod where you can feel that grass on it and snap it free, you know, kind of like you do with a, you know, same way you do with a rattle trap, something like that. So
yeah, well, for example, with Potomac with that rod, I feel like, and what I was noticing in the first event when I was catching some on a chatterbait, if I made that 50-yard bomb cast, you know, up the grass line, even if that fish bit at the end of my cast, I could still catch them because they were able to get it so much better. Oh. And the rod's got enough backbone. You're throwing 16 to 20 pound test on the rod. You can still get them out of that grass.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I'm pretty much switched everything that chatterbait's going to be on them glass rods.
That's awesome.
I went this year to on my traps, my lipless. I went to that style of rod, and really do love it. Like, I mean, it's they when they get it, they eat it. It's down their throats. You can tell the difference.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. As we mentioned earlier, we got Mr. Travis Lugar on. We're talking about doing a little recap within this 2021 season. We got one event left. You're 26 points ahead. Talk about it, man.
I'm excited, man. We're going back to the Potomac. I got some vengeance from that place from last time, obviously. It's starting to become the time of year where a lot of the fish get in the areas I really like to fish. So I'm excited to go do that. I'm going to be skipping docks probably most of the time with a chatterbait and a jig. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully the frog bite will be on. I can get in some creeks and catch some more frogs, but
So what about the boat? So your boat went down. Who did you fish out of somebody else's boat in the next event, or did you get it back? Did you get it
at the James River? My buddy Corey, he actually let me borrow his 18-foot Ranger with a 150 on it.
We got to get a shout out to Corey then, you know.
Oh yeah, Corey just I can't describe, you know, in words how appreciative I am of him letting me borrow it. We actually had this happen a few years ago in the BFLs, and we were joking about it. It was on Potomac 2 years ago. I finished 10th in his boat.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So then I go to the James and finish 6th. So I was like, maybe I just need to use your boat more often.
Yeah, I'll be taking it again. You're going up to the Potomac. Even if you get your boat back, just be like, look, bro, you can use mine this weekend. I'm taking yours. Take it easy.
Yeah, right.
I figured you borrowed somebody. I was like, we got to get a shout out for his buddy that helped him out.
Yeah. No, shout out to Corey for letting me do that.
Yeah.
So is your boat back?
It's still in the shop. It should be back in a couple weeks.
Okay, cool.
So I'll definitely have it going into that last event.
Just the lower unit out on it?
I actually cracked the lower housing too on it. So there's a lot more to it than just the lower unit.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to win this final event, man? How many pounds?
2-day event. The way the Potomac's fishing, I'm going to say 31 pounds.
All right.
31, 16 and a half a day will win it. Well, not 16 and a half, 15 and a half a day will win it.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope you win it. Let's hope you. So. What is it going to? So I tried to look it up real quick, and I know it's my fault here, doing my little knowledge here. You're 26 points ahead. Who do you think's your biggest competition that you're going to have to come ahead of to capture the AOY?
Well, I've done a little research myself.
There you go.
The boy behind me in the points, he's a hammer on rivers. He's won events on Potomac. He's won them on the James River. He knows rivers very, very well. And I know he won an event last year on Potomac about this time of year. So it worries me a little bit, but I'm trying not to let the points be in my head. I just want to go out there and fish to the best of my ability.
Yep. But worst case scenario, he wins. So you've got to finish at least 26th for a tie, 25th, so that you're in there. So you know, as long as you finish above him, it's guaranteed. But a 26-point lead going into the last, that's a pretty good lead. Yep.
Oh yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't think I'm gonna have much points on my mind because we go to Potomac there, and then the very next week I have the Bass Nation on Bugs, and then after that I go to the regional on Murray, and then 2 weeks after that I'm going to the national championship on the Ouachita River. So really, I'm just going to be focused on everywhere that I'm going and traveling.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, man. You wrapped up this year, for the Bass Nation co-angler. It's been a heck of a year for you, brother.
It really has.
What do you think has changed for Mr. Lugar? Or something changed within, your fishing style, or, we know you need to slow down, and we've already brought that up, but, and I've been knowing you for years, and you are one wide open cat. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean,
oh yeah, wide open.
When he says he's single on Facebook, it's fishing. There's nothing else. I mean, it's the truth. I mean.
If there's anything I'd say that changed this year is actually fishing to the last moment. Like I couldn't tell you how many times this year it's been the last hour I catch all my weight because I decided to make one small adjustment and go try something to try to get those bigger bites. And, there's days it doesn't work, but there's days it has worked, So just trusting my gut and actually fishing my strengths, because before I would get caught up picking up a spinning rod, throwing a shaky head, stuff like that, when I really should have been doing something different to get those bigger bites instead of just trying to catch catch a limit. I'm actually now fishing for 5 fish that's going to win me the tournament instead of
right.
So I just have to say the whole mindset changed a little bit. That I think is what's benefited me this year.
That's awesome. What's the future look like for your brother? What's the ultimate goal? I mean, you've invested a lot of years in this bass fishing.
Oh yeah. Ultimate goal is obviously make the Elite Series. That's been my dream since I was a little kid. So I'm been in discussion with my dad because y'all all know my dad. He's been fishing the opens for years.
Yep.
I'm thinking next year I'm going to try to do the Northern Open division as a boater and see what happens.
Nice.
That's awesome.
We'll see what happens there. We're not going to worry about that until later in the year.
Yep. Too much going on this year to worry about that right now. Focus on next right now.
Oh yeah. So
you're 26 years old, 25, going to be 26 this year. You know, you've had a lot of fishing behind you, a lot of fishing under your belt, you know, a lot of fishing with your dad. And how do you think some of that has helped you get to where you are today?
Well, my dad, we didn't fish many tournaments.
I know you didn't. I know you haven't.
The main thing with my dad was, and the reason he did that, and this is my opinion, we haven't really ever discussed this, was if you talk to like Brock Mosley and people like them in the elites, their biggest thing was they fish with as many people as they could to learn many different styles and be as versatile as they can.
Yep.
So I think my dad did that to me. He didn't want me to fish with him to where, okay, this is how we fish and this is how we're going to do it, to where I can be my own angler and learn my own ways.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty awesome.
That's where I really have to thank my dad for actually making me go do stuff like that instead of me just riding his shirt tail to victories.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't want to ride. I've got some people that I know like that. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome. I really do. Because, you know, like I said, it's going to help you become a better angler and fishing with a lot of different people and learning a lot of different styles. Fishing with a lot of people. Let's talk about this really quick, the co-angler side of it. Besides your dad as an influence, if you were to take away one more person, maybe the one that you fish with, that probably you were like, wow, you know, this is like an aha moment. Who might that person be, man?
The Matt Martin. I fished with my buddy Matt that lives over at Lake Anna. The past couple of years, we've been fishing the Elite 70s trail together. Mm-hmm. And just watching how that dude breaks down a lake with his graph offshore, like that was a big weakness of mine, is fishing out, you know, beyond 30 feet.
Right.
And just watching how he breaks it down and what he looks for has actually taught me. And I've put my own twist into it because, you know, we're anglers. We always want to figure out what's
That's
little
what you're supposed to do.
And just to watching how he breaks it down, that man, he's taught me so much when it comes to fishing that offshore stuff and what to look for, where to, you know, what the bait looks like on the graph that you want to find, and, you know, just stuff like that where you'll find more feeding fish than just fish laying on the bottom.
That's something. I live down in Southwest Virginia, right on the Tennessee border, right around Bristol. And so all the lakes, the bigger lakes here, the Tennessee lakes, so like South Holston, you know, Watauga, Cherokee. So you're kind of born fishing deep down here. You kind of have to, you know. That's one thing I enjoy doing. That it took me forever because I was so used to fishing clear water, like ultra clear water that I've got over here. That you know, when I started fishing the BFLs, I started as a co, and I was like, we would get in dirty water, and I'd be like, I have no clue what to throw here. You know? Give me 10 or 15 feet water. Clear. Yeah, give me 10 or 15 feet clear, and I'm like, yeah, I got this. Oh. I know what I'm doing right here, you know.
Oh, no, give me 5 inches of visibility, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I love dirty water. Take me down to Bannister, man. Yeah, it's dirty as all get out.
That's obviously why I suck as an angler, because where I'm working all the time and doing YouTube all the time, I only ever get to fish by myself. So I'm just like constantly doing the same wrong thing over and over.
Dang. Well, guys, I'm done. I've wrapped it all up. But Bass Geek, any more questions for him?
I'm good, man. Just hope to see you win that AOY, brother. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank y'all. We're gonna spend a lot of time up here in the next couple months on the Potomac.
Good.
Maybe get one of y'all to come join me one day while I'm up there practicing.
That'd be fun.
That would be pretty awesome. What are you guys going out of that Smallwood State Park?
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go out of Smallwood, but I'm launching out of Leesylvania and running across. I'm not gonna drive.
Okay, you're gonna run across.
Around.
You're not gonna go across the bridge and all the way around and
yeah, no, I'll drive 5 minutes in the dark across.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Bruce is talking about it because I went up there a couple of years ago for a tournament, and I think it was actually a Costa tournament then because everything hadn't moved over. And he's telling me about how much longer that it took him. He said, if I'd have had a boat, I'd have been here in like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, good gosh.
I luckily had somebody teach me that lesson, so I never learned it the hard way. He was like, dude, it's 5 minutes to go across. I said, sounds good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brother, good luck to you the rest of 2021. Hopefully after this Potomac event, we'll get you back on and we'll let you break down the Potomac and you'll have some hardware to show us.
I'm hoping so. Like I said, we're going to see. It's going to be fun. I'm just going to enjoy the moment while I have it.
There you go.
Well, good luck to you the rest of this year. And thank you for coming on. And thank you for being a part of the Basscast.com.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
All right, guys, we want to thank Mr. Travis Lugar for coming on and talking with us tonight. That was an awesome show, Bass Geek.
That was awesome.
25 years old, lots of accomplishments already under his belt. And hopefully AOY championship. I mean, it's going to be, for the Shenandoah division right here in Central Virginia, by the way, guys.
Good luck to him.
So good luck to him. But it's pretty freaking cool. And like I said, he's a great dude, and his dad is an awesome man as well. So he comes from a great family, great background in fishing. And hopefully, like I said, he's 26. Maybe in the next year or two, we'll see him up on the Bassmaster stage.
Oh, yeah.
Like we said earlier,
the drive.
He definitely has the drive. This dude, holy cow. I wish I was, at 25, I was working my ass off. But
man, listen, I'm either going to have to be able to rewind my body, or in 5 years, I'm becoming a cyborg, fishing cyborg. That's it. That's all I know.
there you
I'd
go.
love to be 25 again.
I mean, this is no lie. I mean, he was like, you're talking about he'd fish a Saturday tournament, and I'm sitting here 4 hours down the road and he's fishing a Sunday tournament. I mean, he's packing up and rolling. I mean, it's like, holy cow, dude, how in the world do you do it?
I don't know if I've got that much energy anymore. One Saturday tournament takes it out of me.
I know you're ready to rest for can I get an extra day of vacation so I can rest up?
Yep.
So, yeah, guys, make sure you head on Travis Lugar Fishing. By the way, follow him there on Facebook. He's on Instagram as well. Give him a follow today. Follow him in his journey. And like we said, man, he's an awesome kid and one heck of an awesome angler. So thank him for coming on with us tonight. And make sure you guys go hit the follow button. Bass Geek, as always, thank you for another great show.
Thank you for having me.
And excuse me. And thank you to all of you guys out there in radio land, podcast land, we call it now, and YouTube. And also, don't forget, Rumble. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all our sponsors. You guys rock. Again, guys, if you didn't hear earlier, we could have the Fighter Man next week. Looking forward to that show as well. And maybe I might throw up something on Facebook to see if anybody wants to ask some questions.
Cool.
Since we know he's going to be on, we locked in, we're dialed in, and we're ready to go. So you guys have a great night out there. As always, be safe. Wear your life jackets while you're out there fishing, and have a great week.
You've been listening to Basscast Radio, the best in local and national bass fishing news. To listen to more episodes, check us out on all the podcasting networks. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, thebasscast.com, and Basscast News.